knows my nose. Her eyes a little bit glassy, so I don't know if she'll be going back in this game, guys.
Never a fun place to take some contact. And you look at the advantage right now, 29 points for Indiana. The Fever are going to start a stretch of 5 road games in their next 7 games. Clark will be evaluated tomorrow. Part of that 2-week time off that she took as Bantam beats the buzzer for the Lamb. But for Clark, we'll get more news on her status moving forward. Cunningham still has a little bit more time with that ankle. It's important to note with Clark, that quad injury is different than the injury that she had in the preseason. That was a little bit higher up on the same leg, but not the same injury. Turnover forced by the Sky. They come down and forces Bantam. Looking for another bucket. Can't get the 3. Reese with the board. Bantam this time. Galloping towards the cup. Can't get it. Boston with the rebound. Her 5th of the game. We talked about the shot attempts for Boston. She's sitting at 7. 4 of 7. You'd still like to see that number higher.
I don't think it should ever be under 12.
McDonald can't connect on the 3, and Reese has now got 10 rebounds. The league's leading rebounder continues to improve upon that stature.
Oh, it has been a tough evening for Ariel Atkins. That time goes back door, finally gets free, but is called for the offensive.
Yeah, you mentioned the difficult night. Had 26 points in their win against Dallas tonight. Just 2 of 11 with 4 points and 4 fouls.
She's had to try and create a lot of her offense on her own, with also having a tough defensive task and guarding Kelsey Mitchell at times. And Dewana Bonner
feathers in the 3 from the corner, and she has flourished in these games without Clark. Whatever the correlation is, she's averaging over 14 points a game when she was under 4 points a game in the first 4 games that Clark was playing. Bantam, a 3, skips off the rim. Bonner the rebound, and Bonner, the league's 3rd all-time leading scorer. In fact, top 10 in 3 different categories, and made 3s, rebounds, and points.
Has been a staple of this league for so long. Oh, good pass.
Howard clobbered down low by Cardoso, but an excellent find by McDonald.
And you start to think about the Fever.
Indiana had a season-high 11 threes in their win over Washington. They're at 9 right now, and McDonald going to be whistled for the foul as she sent Atkins reeling towards the baseline.
A little delayed call, too.
Borderline, though. That was almost a separation. I think we're all waiting for the highlight after that. Atkins whips it over to Reese. Reese inside to Cardoso, who's been rather quiet for the majority of this game. Reese deflected down low. Nice find outside. 3-pointer off target. Chicago now 2 of 13 from beyond the arc. Colson over to Howard as Bonner will initiate this offensive set. You just notice the spacing and the movement for Indiana. Just everything in sync right now as Howard fouled down low.
And I like to think that the spacing for the Fever is so. Court players are extremely versatile, therefore they can pop or roll at any time and go where the space is open.
It goes back to, it takes time to adjust playing without Clark because of the gravity she has on the floor and the fact that she does so much with the ball in her hands and leading the league in assists. And now that they've had a couple of games and some more practices under their belt, as Boston blows by, easy pass, Howard blocked from behind. Atkins comes over to save the possession.
Good, great effort from Ariel Atkins.
Bantam gets a great screen from Cardoso, who gets fouled by Boston. So the 2 South Carolina teammates, just like they used to all those years in practice, go shoulder to shoulder.
Yeah, that's been a fun matchup to watch for sure.
Keep in mind with Clark, she has not missed significant playing time for several years in her career. And keep this also as of note, no MVP in league history has missed more than 3 games. This is now her 4th game she has missed. And so many people thought she'd be in that MVP race. Nafisa Collier has something else to say about that right now in the early going.
Man,
but you got to be on the floor in order to get that recognition. But of course, long season.
Yeah.
With that long-term health.
And only 6 or 7 games in, you want to make sure that you are healthy. And this is an awesome opportunity for Cece to be able to learn and to see the game from a vantage point that she hasn't seen it in a very long time, which is on the bench, on the sideline.
And another foul, and Chicago is frustrated with the officials right now as Cardoso trying to plead her case and even navigating that quick transition that so many rookies do.
We did get to talk with Coach Kelly about Caitlin being out as well as Sophie, and he said he needs them to continue to bring the energy from the bench, and that's what I've observed during this game. Them getting up, telling players what they're seeing, high-fiving, being really supportive and vocal to keep this team going.
Checking into this game, trying to fight for the rebound is Brianna Turner as Colson almost beat the buzzer. Still a 28-point advantage for Indiana. Again, doing this game without their head coach Stephanie White out for personal reasons. No Clark, no Cunningham. Yet still in control of this one.
They do not look like they have missed a beat. They've been on one accord all night.
Maddie Westbell, the rookie from Notre Dame, in the game right now for Chicago, and McDonald will chase down the rebound. So it feels like now the Fever have found their identity without Clark, but they're going to have to adjust when she comes back, and that's a challenge sometimes.
Yeah, but I actually think they're going to be better than ever because of the ball and player movement that has happened without her on the floor. Lexi Holt told us the hardest thing about not having Clark on the floor is that obviously she accounts for so much offense, but what they have worked on as a team is those cuts off the basketball, making more cuts, making better reads to have a higher offensive output.
Williams sticks the midi. Nice offensive flow right there for the Sky, and that's what they talked about. We need to see more player movement, more ball movement. When that ball whips around, that's when we're playing our best.
Yeah, they're just figuring it out. Their backup point guard, Haley Van Lith, is a rookie, so she's still trying to adjust to the game. Obviously, without Courtney Vandersloot, you kind of play point guard by committee a bit, which is what we've seen. We've seen Rachel Banham, Haley Van Lith bring up the ball, even Beck Allen at times. And
both teams with some timeouts, and I will say I had to use Instacart today to keep feeding my hungry boys. So thank you, Instacart, as Chicago now with some of the younger players on the floor. Just trying to get those looks, that game action right. You can go back and evaluate the film, but a tough look there for Onion Webber. Bonner, long pass to her, trying to shield the defense, and it'll go out of bounds. Be Chicago ball. And so this game, part of the Commissioner's Cup, 36 total games across the league, will face off at the top seeded team's place, and the winner will get a chance to play for over $500,000. And over the last 3 years, the winners, if you look at the Lynx, the Liberty, and the Aces, have played in the WNBA Finals. The Aces, the only team to win both in one season.
it has become such a fun competition to watch. One, because players are playing for the bag, so you know it's a little bit more to it than just bragging rights or winning a game in the regular season. I think the second thing too is it's the only time in WNBA where we care about the East and the West, where we care about the regions, and so it's fun competing against the other side of the league.
Well, Jalen Suggs, guard for the Orlando Magic, boyfriend of Haley Van Lith, obviously cares about her here courtside, watching her play. And as you look at what Van Lith has been able to do with the extended time, a chance to showcase what she's got, and now you're the backup point guard that becomes the starting point guard for the Sky. And a nice three from outside for Westbell. That's why they drafted her, has a silky smooth touch from beyond the arc. And a timeout, Indiana. Chicago's made this a 21-point game, but the young players for the Sky have shown some fight late in this one. That's 5:02, so the majority of this fourth quarter, the Fever have not been able to get a single point. That was why you saw Austin Kelly call the timeout. You don't want to relax too much down this stretch. McDonald, nice by Dantis, deflected as Williams sent the orange out of bounds.
Yeah, great recovery from Williams.
4 to shoot for the Fever. Turner up top. Turner has to step back. Great rotation. Can't sink the jumper. Williams with the rebound. And now Chicago can extend this run. Just under 3 minutes left in this ball game. This is the second of 5 meetings this season between the two teams. McDonald pokes it away, then tapped up down the floor, and McDonald will slow things down. McDonald for 3, cashes in.
Survival mode looks really fun. I gotta say.
12 points now for McDonald, and used to seeing Survivors on CBS, by the way.
You're quick with it, partner.
Here's Westbeld, the drive, picks up the foul, and how about her as a prospect? 6'3", but has those guard-like skills to put the ball on the floor and get her shot up. Very intriguing for the Sky there.
I loved Maddie Westbeld's game in college. She's a high IQ forward player, a willing passer, sees the floor very well. And as we've seen already, can knock down shots on the outside. I wouldn't be surprised if she starts to get a little bit more time here as the season goes on. I think she can provide some really good minutes for Chicago. I'll tell you another thing as well. I mean, we talk so much about Beck Allen and what she's been able to bring in. She's been a spark off the bench, but you could argue that the way in which she's been competing for the Sky, she deserves to start the basketball game for them. I think that veteran leadership and experience starting the game, really important in the W.
Michaela Timpson checking in for the Fever, getting her first run of the night with 2 minutes remaining. 6 to shoot. Colson will launch one, and the three-pointers continue to fall for the Fever. They've now tied their season high with 11 now in back-to-back games.
2 minutes left. I mean, it's the ball movement, it's the confidence, but a lot of these shots are catch and shoot in rhythm. If you're a shooter, that's exactly what you want. Oh,
and
good
Liz
defense.
trying to create separation, ripped away by McDonald.
Erin McDonald, she's so low to the ground. She's got quick hands.
McDonald, the recipient. Just off target on that 3. Timpson trying to keep it alive. It'll be Chicago ball as Westbeld brings it down the floor. Chicago right now sitting at 2-4 on the season. Most likely move to 2-5. And
I mean, that is the identity of this Fever team. They play with pace and they knock down threes.
they're actually hitting more threes per game in the absence of Caitlin Clark than when she was on the floor. And now a foul as Colson's trying to split a pair of Sky players. And one thing that needs to be mentioned too is the shoulders and the slow start for this team. The fact that you've got some veterans to now share and carry that load. And we had talked to Caitlin in the last game that they played against New York, and she mentioned, I've just got to continue to be confident and believe in the work that I put in. But it's nice now knowing I belong, I've proven myself, and I feel comfortable. And beating the shot clock is Turner, so a terrific job there. And as we get set to close out this game, a historic one, the first ever primetime network televised regular season game. We would love to just thank our terrific crew in the truck that has been here for a couple of days and has gotten things set up. Today's game was produced by Deb Bullock and directed by Corey Fishman. The associate directors are Justin Haley and Kid J. Theano. Broadcast associates of tonight's game are Heather Silver and Lawrence Goss. The technical manager, Jerry Wetzel, and technical director, Griffin Jacob, and the audio supervisor is Ryan Miller. They put this together. History made tonight on network television in prime time as the Fever now just 4.1 seconds away from winning, and they are set to go 5 of the last 6 against Chicago. And Austin Kelly getting a win in his debut. That's her final, 79-52. The Fever improved to 4-4, 2-2.